Hello again, all you people out there. I just wanted to give you some thoughts that I got, and I'm pretty sure I got it from the Lord, so I'm just going to pass it along. In this day and age where we are at in the church and historically and in humanity, this was an interesting day yesterday that I had, and I figured I'd let you know what the Lord has shown me. So let's get into it. Yesterday, I was in the ER. I don't want to get into why. It was pretty gross and embarrassing, but I had some medical issues and I needed to get seen, and I went in. So I show up at the ER. I have my Bible with me. I'm like, well, if I'm going to sit here for hours, I might as well read my Bible, and had my Jesus Saved My Life t-shirt on, and just kind of sitting there waiting. Hey, Lord, if there's somebody that needs prayer or I need to talk to while I'm sitting in this ER, let me do that, right? That's what I always try and do. That's kind of what my goal is in life, is if God shows somebody that needs some prayer or some cheering or whatever, just I'm there for it. That's what I'm good at. So I'm reading my Bible, and they call me pretty quick. And I'm in the waiting room previously, right? And I look around. There's a couple that's to my left, and they're talking about silly stuff that doesn't really mean much, but they're pretty intent on their conversation. So there's no really way I could chat with them, and they didn't want to look at me at all. So that's okay. Then the lady next to me definitely didn't want to look at me. Every time I looked over, she made sure to never look at me. I was like, okay. And then there was a guy who was super intent on his phone. Like there was nothing gonna take his eyes off his phone. I'm like, all right, Lord, not in the waiting room. When I got processed through, the nurses were really quick with me. I mean, very pleasant, of course, but quick. As fast as they could get me in and through, they did. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. But when I think about it, it was as if their spirit was closed off. They didn't want to speak to me for any extended period of time, which is fine. So they get me back to the room very quickly, and I'm like, wow, this is the quickest I've ever been processed through. And I'm sitting there with my Bible and that kind of thing, and so yeah, I'm like, all right, Lord, is there anybody I can speak to? Well, there just seemed to be nobody I could speak to, and every time the nurse came in, because now I'm in a gown, and I had put my shirt on the chair where my Jesus Saved My Life was just screaming at them. Like, it's right there, advertisement. Nobody wanted to speak to me extra, which is fine. Okay. I'm like, all right, Lord. So far, I haven't really been able to speak to anybody about my faith or you or anything else, and I'm in an emergency room. There might be somebody here that needs some hope or cheering or something. So I get through the process of what I got to get through. Thank God they helped me out a little bit. I felt better. I'm still going to have to go to a doctor and see some things and get some things done. But regardless, I'm through. I'm feeling a little better. And I'm sitting there and I'm dressed. And I'm staring around. I'm like outside my door waiting to be discharged. And I tell you what, the nurse who kept seeing me outside my door rushed me out as fast as she could. Like, she was like, I'm checking on your discharge papers, and we'll get you out as fast as possible. It was as if she did not want me on her floor. She was not unpleasant. She just wanted me out. Jesus Saved My Life is just screaming across my chest. I'm like, okay. And I'm looking around. And I'm like, all right, I'll creep down past some rooms and see if there's anybody that needs a prayer. I'll go in. I'll say, hey, you need some prayer? I'll pray for you. You know what? There was nobody. There were people sleeping. There were people on their phone. And there were people that were talking to their people that was with them. But there was no one that the Lord showed me, hey, you need to talk to them. Except there was this little girl. She was a nurse, and she looked like life had beat her in the face. She looked like she had been crying in the bathroom. And I was like, Lord, I'll speak to her. I'll speak to her. And every time I tried to approach her, she rushed away. Very busy, I understand. Okay, no problem. But as I'm going out the door, I'm finally, I'm not finally, no, they rushed me out. I'm discharged and I'm trying to get out the exit and I don't know where I'm going. I'm kind of turned around and I get past her booth and she's staring at me. I'm staring at her. I circle back and I'm like, listen, I think I'm lost. Which way is the exit? And she gave me just enough time to tell me where to go. And I looked at her and I said, you girls are really busy today. I just want to say God bless you. And that's all I could get out to her, right? That's all I could say to her. She really was busy. And for a second she lit up and she smiled. And I'm like, all right, Lord, that's what I could do. That's what I could do for this poor kid. She really, really looks like she's been through it today. And it's only, noon. So I got out the door and I was running around getting my prescription and doing stuff I needed to do before I got home. And I went to Publix and had to pick up some stuff. And as I'm walking out the door, there's this little girl in the entryway. And she goes, oh my goodness, you love Jesus? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And she's like, me too. And so we got a chance to chat for a second. We both lit up. It was both a moment of recognition. It was both a moment of just, yes, here's a believer. Here's somebody who loves you, Jesus. And that was wonderful for even a minute or two. Total stranger just went, I want to talk to you, And so we got that second with each other. And then I had to leave to get home. But it was good. It really stroked my soul. It picked me up a little bit because I had found nobody that I could speak to about God or, with about God, about Jesus, about anything, really. And I'm on my way home, and God brought to mind the movie I had watched the night before called Hacksaw Ridge. If you've ever not seen it, I highly recommend. It is a story about a gentleman who was a conscientious objector in World War II who was willing to go out in the middle of a battle to be a medic and help save lives. And there's a pivotal moment on the ridge, Hacksaw Ridge, where he asked God, what am I here for? Tell me what to do. Because everybody was retreating, and he was the last one up there trying to get a wounded guy off the ridge and get him down with the last of the guys. And he stopped and he asked God, what am I here for? What do you want me to do? And he, within a second or two, heard somebody scream out, medic, help, medic, right? And he knew what to do. He just went out into that battlefield and just started pulling people back to the ledge to bring them down. Even despite the fact there was nobody else there, he was still saving the wounded. And God brought that movie to mind in that moment, right? And I had a moment of realization where we are all in battle, right? There is a battle out there. We Christians who are awakened know this. And we're looking around for the wounded, right? We're looking for the wounded, and we're seeing if we could help them, bring them to safety. Okay. The problem is in this battle and in this world today, nobody knows they're wounded. In fact, they're being rushed so much by the world, by Satan, by the way this world is set up, by this devious, horrible, subtle, secret plan. They don't even know they're wounded. So how are they going to call out to a medic? That's us. We're the medics, okay? We're the ones running around in the battlefield going, who can we help, Lord? What do I do here, Lord? And they are in the battle, laying down wounded, and they don't even know it, and they cannot call out for help. And so it's a little disheartening, and God gave me that little girl at the entrance of Publix to, give me a little encouragement, a little lightness, a little brightness in that moment, that I really needed. I really appreciated that girl being there right in the entrance, just waiting to notice my t-shirt and recognize, and her eyes lit up and smiled at me so big and with joy, right? I really needed that. And I smiled back with joy, like, yeah, all right, you love the Lord too, amen. I needed that. She needed that. We needed that. But I went through a war zone in the ER, and no one could look up from their phone. They could not look up from their conversation. They could not. They didn't know they were wounded. They didn't know they needed help. They could not call out, medic, help me. So, yeah, it was pretty deep yesterday. And I was literally looking. I'm like, and the Lord is normally pretty good about showing me who needs that extra bump, who needs that help, who needs that moment of, let me notice you, let me pray for you, let me speak to you, right? And the weirdest thing is that the people who are the ones that are calling out for help, that do know they need help, that need the medic, they're not your everyday folk. No. They're the guy on the corner with the cardboard sign. They are the guy in the wheelchair that looks lonely, that are ready to hear that moment of, hey, Jesus sees your struggle. He knows that you're in it, and he wants to help. Just call out. Like, they are the willing ones to scream out, medic, help me, and willing to speak even to somebody. They are the ones that notice that they need that moment. They are the ones that realize that you're there to help. And it does remind me of the story in the Bible that is told about the guy who is throwing a banquet. It's a wedding banquet, and he invites his friends, and they don't want to come. They're too busy. And so he tells his servants to go out into the waysides and the ditches to find somebody to come to the banquet, and they will come. And so I'm going to tell you, in that ER yesterday, there was not one person there that was willing to come to the banquet or talk about it or wanted that moment. And barely the little girl, the nurse that had, was obviously emotionally drowning, she was drowning, could barely stop and barely acknowledge the blessing from God that I gave her, because I told her, God bless y'all, and she gave me a smile like, you know what, I did need that. But then she had to move on. Like, the world is just pushing us and pushing us. And so this is the battle, people. And God is showing me that we're in a town that can't, miracles can't be done. The faith is not there. People are too busy. There's a banquet being set and nobody wants to come. But the lost and broken and forgotten and the homeless and the needy, but your regular folks out there, oblivious, they don't want to hear it. And that's where we're at. So that moment in Hacksaw Ridge where God shows him that people are calling for a medic, God showed me yesterday, people don't want the medic. They don't. They don't think they're wounded. They don't think they need it. They don't want to come to the banquet. They're fine. Pretty disheartening. Yeah, not the greatest thing in the world to see. But it's where we're at. And God said in the end times, this would be, heart-hardening times. People got hard hearts and they don't need a medic. They don't need the help. They don't need God. They don't need Jesus. In fact, they don't want to look at a t-shirt that says his name. It was really weird how much that was a thing yesterday. And so I just want to leave you with, hey, I'm here. You're there. We're not alone. We do have believers out there who love the Lord and like to talk about him and are on fire for God. And there are people out there that will call out for a medic. You'll see it as soon as you talk to them. They want that connection. But it's a little few and far between. And so just keep searching when you're out and about. Just say, Lord, what am I to do? Who needs help? Like that kid, I think he was called Doss, his last name, Doss, who asked the Lord, what do I do? And God showed him because somebody called out. Somebody needed a medic. So just ask for that. Check that movie out. It's a little bloody, of course, World War II. But the story, the conviction, and the love for the Lord that this man had. Good stuff. And so it kind of made me understand where we're at. And that God will bring me somebody that wants to talk about the Lord and give me some encouragement, but I won't find it everywhere. I mean, I think I was exposed to like 50 people out in the wild yesterday, and only one wanted to acknowledge my t-shirt at all. And only one wanted to smile for a second as I God bless them. So, yeah, weird out there, guys. Just keep your eyes on the Lord. Ask him what he would have you do today, because every day is an adventure. You never know what you're going to do. And that's what I do. Lord, what do you want me to do today? And today he wanted me to throw up a video and tell you, be encouraged. Okay? We're at the end times. This is definitely the end times for real. Okay? We're almost home. It's almost over. Jesus is coming. And this will all be over. So, get close to God. That's all I got to say. Get close to Jesus. Get close to the Holy Ghost. Get in your word. Pray, pray, pray. All right. You guys have a God bless day. Talk to you later. Bye.